Okay.
Okay.
So, hi everyone. Welcome to the HR Champions podcast. And joining us today is Albert Joseph Reyes, or AJ, right, sir?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, AJ is the HR and admin manager of Phelps Dodge Philippines Energy Products Corporation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir AJ, for joining us today. And we're really excited to have you here.
Yeah, I'm also excited because it's my first time to be participating in a podcast. So let's see what happens.
Oh, sure. No worries. So to kick things, to start off things, could you give us a quick background and a brief introduction of who AJ Reyes is?
Well, what's funny is my course is not HR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I did not start as HR. I graduated statistics
Mm-hmm.
from UP Diliman. So actually even my course is not my first choice. My first choice really is accountancy. But you know
Interest.
naman UP, 'di ba? Medyo mahirap. So
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went to BS Statistics in UP Diliman, and then halfway through, I think that was around fourth year college, I was deeply involved with the Red Cross. Okay,
Mm,
and my experience with the Red Cross actually helped, I guess, help develop the HR element in me because you have to deal with a lot of people, 'di ba?
correct.
So, when I graduated from UP, 'di ba, alam mo naman scholar ng bayan. So you have to give back to the community, you have to give back to the country. So
Yes.
after graduating, I volunteered and then became a staff of the Philippine Red Cross in one of their chapters in
Mm-hmm.
Pasig cities. So I worked there for 4 years, 2003 until 2007, and then and then after 4 years, I transferred to Phelps Dodge Philippines.
Mm.
Okay. And then what's funny, even if I transferred to Phelps Dodge here in my current company, so I've been with them for 16 years already. I
Wow.
did not, yeah, I did not start as an HR.
Mm-hmm.
My first position title here is research assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
basically, I started under marketing. So I handled market research for a couple of years, 2007 until 2014. However, part and parcel of the function of the position was to also do some HR functions. I
Mm-hmm.
do recruitment for sales, I do termination or whatever. But not the whole end-to-end HR process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The title HR was only given to me 2014.
Mm-hmm.
The company was then majority owned by General Cable. It's an American company.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I became HR manager.
Mm.
So that's the
2014.
story,
Mm-hmm.
2014.
Mm-hmm.
So you count back 2014 until now. I handle HR. I handle the admin department as well.
Mm-hmm.
I also handle the data privacy functions of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And add to that, I also handle the marketing part, the marketing team.
Wow, so full spectrum na ng ano 'no, all departments na nahawakan mo.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the story of my professional life.
Hmm.
Yeah. So basically in other companies managers para meron ka pang boss, 'di ba? In my current
Mm.
company, I really am the head of HR and admin.
Mhm.
So that's it. So in terms of formal education in HR, I really don't have. I was
Mhm.
I took it upon myself to develop my HR skills.
Mhm.
I attended seminars, particularly I'm very sure you're familiar with PMAP.
Mhm.
I
Yes.
attended a certification course on PMAP, and then just recently I was able to pass the CHRO
Wow,
certification
congrats.
exam. So para naman din nakakahiya HR manager kaya hindi ka masyadong proficient sa HR competencies, 'di ba? So
Mhm.
that's it. That's me.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. You mentioned kanina Red Cross kasi, before I used to have my previous experience naman, I'm in sales. So, I used to deal with Red Cross. If you're familiar dun sa dito sa may Manila Port area. So, dun yung
Yeah.
office nila before. So,
Yes.
I used to work with Canon Marketing Philippines. So, ako yung nagsusupply ng heavy duty printers nila. And then, if you're familiar with IFRC, Red Crescent Societies,
Yeah, the
tapos,
federation.
di
Yeah.
ba? And then they transfer dito sa Boni, nandiyan na yung office nila.
Yes,
So,
yung malaking
yun.
building diyan sa Bon.
Oo, so
Yeah.
yun. So, I was fortunate na we were able to supply yung needs ng mga Red Cross kasi iba't ibang countries yung nandun eh. So I
Yeah.
remember may German, may Netherlands. So parang most of them na I was able to do business with them. Yun. Okay. Sige. Moving on, AJ, on my next question. Since you've been working in HR, can you share what inspired you? Kasi you mentioned kanina, hindi naman yun talaga yung, di ba? Hindi yun yung, kasi you want
Yeah.
accounting, di ba? So what
Yeah.
inspired you to work in HR?
Well, let's say it's not really by choice, but it's kasi the way I was given the HR function, it's not really by choice, no. It's
Mhm.
really, I guess, ang cringy kung tatawagin kong destiny, no. Pero well, at the end of the day, pero parang destiny na rin eh. Kasi when I started working here in the company,
Mhm.
I really started as research. But then again, as I said earlier, I was also given some HR functions because
Mhm.
during the time that I entered in 2007, they were also trying to expand the sales team, okay, of the
Mm.
company. And then there's really no HR staff or HR officer, so to speak.
Mhm.
Walang ganong position. So they just asked me to recruit. So part ng recruitment diyan, pagso-source mo na and then interview, then the exams, 'di ba?
Aha.
What's funny is there's really no established policies, just the usual non-verbal practice of the company. So
Mhm.
I try to enhance that. I try to improve on that.
Mhm.
So so I guess it's really not by choice why I became HR, but to borrow their term, yung ibang officers dito sa company, I think it comes naturally to me.
Mm.
Kasi when you do community building, 'di ba? Before kaya I mentioned Red Cross kasi it's ano eh, it's a vital link to why I'm here in HR. When you do
Mhm.
community building, when you talk to people, when you organize volunteers, in a way it's preparing me pala for that position
Oh, 'di ba?
when I transfer to the company. So yon. Kaya I really didn't have a hard time transferring or adjusting to the role.
Mm.
Siguro the thing that na medyo kulang lang is really understanding the framework, the theories, but
Mhm.
it's not that difficult to really study that and then eventually implement it sa department.
Hmm.
Okay. By the way, kasi in HR, when I handled HR, isa lang yung guiding principle ko. You're an employee, I am an employee, di ba? So if you want to be a good HR, always think about how would you want to treat, would you want to be treated?
Exactly.
Kasi at the end of the day, that's the only principle that you have to look into, di ba?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
pagpasok mo, syempre gusto ko maganda ang recruitment ko. Gusto ko naman lagi ako may feedback, 'di ba? Gusto ko naman may ganito, may ganyan. So you always go back to that.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing. So curious lang ako, AJ. So when you started or when you started handling HR role sa Phelps Dodge, ilan yung employees before and then ilan na yung employee base as of today?
Naku, Diyos ko. When I started here in Phelps Dodge, for example, in sales and marketing,
Mhm.
lahat sila, ang tawag ko, sir, ma'am, when I started.
Aha.
Okay? Currently, lahat sila wala na. Lahat ngayon ng sales and marketing personnel, ako na ang nag-hire.
Hmm.
That's the difference. Before, even in the other departments, I think
Mhm.
there's only a less than 10 people which I did not hire. So here
Hmm.
in Makati, we're about 70 people. So
Mhm.
you can estimate about 60 of them, ako na yung nag-hire.
Hmm. Okay.
But of course,
So,
in Tarlac, it's quite different in Tarlac. In our operations, in our manufacturing plant in Tarlac, it's different.
mhm. Pero more or less on the Tarlac side, mga ilang employees yun nandun?
In Tarlac, I think about 200.
200. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sige. Moving on my next question is, what has been your biggest challenge as an HR leader so far?
When you look when I think about it, number one, when I assume the position of HR, my direct reports are older than me. That's one.
Mhm,
Particularly the HR staff interlock. Number two, actually ang nakakatawa dyan, my HR staff interlock was the one who conducted my new employee orientation.
Sila yung nag-onboard, gano'n ba?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So there's a delicate balance of how you assert your authority
Mhm,
and then how you make them how you make them respect you for the position that you're holding.
mhm,
Fortunately, I was not able to experience any difficulty in doing that. They were very open. It's
mhm.
just that you have to give respect so that it can be reciprocated or given back to you. Okay.
Yes.
Siguro the second challenge would be kasi when I handled the team, there's really no procedures or policies
Mhm,
written.
mhm,
There's procedures, there are procedures, there are policies in place, but they are not written, they're not documented.
mhm,
So the first agenda for the business is to really set up the documents for the policies, for the procedures, the flow
mhm.
chart, the framework, and then even if you have established all of those policies, ang kapal na nga ng book namin, ganyan. Even if you establish that, there's always the challenge for you to always guide the organization to make sure that the policies and the frameworks that you set up are being implemented properly,
Hmm,
'di ba? For example, we also have we also have contractors. So
mhm,
you always have to make sure that they follow the management, the managers follow the law. The
mhm,
difference between kasi if for example, yung contractors sanay ka na nautusan mo pero they're not your employees eh. So para for you to be consistent and to be law-abiding corporate citizens, you really have to toe the line,
mhm.
'di ba?
Yes.
So that's part and parcel of the function. You always have to remind them na
Mhm,
this is the proper way of doing things. I
mhm,
guess that's really the essence because in terms of values naman, the company and its employees have all the right values.
mhm,
Alam mo 'yun, hindi siya that, it's not that challenging because walang difficult walang mga difficult employees to deal with to begin with.
hmm, hmm. Pero I just to share with you, sir, kasi I think na-experience mo naman 'to kasi 'di ba, when you're HR, people are expecting you to be like this accommodating, na dapat friendly ka because you're dealing with people with different personalities, with different limits,
Yeah.
'di ba?
Mhm.
So, do you see that like as one of the toughest challenge that you had?
Um, it did not came up because on the first place, I guess that's also the advantage that I started from
Sa
the
Red
ranks.
Cross.
Yes. Tsaka when I entered the company, I started from the ranks. Staff
Mhm,
level talaga. Research assistant
mhm.
eh, so staff ka. And
Oo,
then you went up the ladder. Pero while you went up the ladder, you established relationships along the way with your co-employees.
yes.
'Di ba? So when I became manager, they were not that conscious na kapag lalapit ka kay HR para kang pupunta sa prefect of discipline, hindi gano'n.
Yes,
Kasi
yes.
'di ba? Kasi they're very familiar with me, 'di
Mm,
ba? Sometimes nagiging sounding board pa ako kapag may mga problema sila.
hmm. I can
Pero
relate dun
it
sa ano,
was
yes
saan?
sir, I can relate dun sa ano, dun sa pag ka sa HR, sa prefect of discipline yung ano, ganun yung feeling, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi if you
Mm.
don't know HR or the people within HR, tapos pupunta ka sa kanila or pinatawag ka na hindi mo alam yung for what reason, you have that feeling eh,
Yeah.
'di ba? Pero when
Yeah.
you know them, na iba yung feeling na I can trust these people, I can open up with them, 'di ba? Gano'n yung ano eh. So
Yeah.
that's one of the advantage tingin ko na talagang when you start from an HR siguro as yun you mentioned as a staff, you can relate with them eh, you can relate with everyone.
Kaya and also when you implement kasi employee discipline, my style is if you talk to the employee, you discuss the for example, may violation sa company policy. Ang usual HR
Mhm.
sasabihin, 'di ba? Oh, may violation ka. This is your okay, so suspended. Ganyan, 'di ba? Pero that's not my style eh. The style is you talk to the employee and then you ask them, ano sa tingin mo yung
Mhm.
ginawa mong mali, 'di
Mhm.
ba? Kasi if the employee naman is a reasonable person, siya na mismo yung aamin sa'yo na, "Boss, kasi ito talaga yung ginawa ko mali." Okay. And then, ang concept of employee discipline, it's not really penalty. It's a consequence concept.
Yes, I
'Di ba?
agree.
If for example, may kandila tapos nilagay mo yung kamay mo sa kandila, mapapasok ka talaga.
Mhm.
Pero the pain that you're gonna feel is the consequence of your action. 'Di
Mhm.
ba? So, kapag na-suspend ka or nabigyan ka ng disciplinary actions, these are consequences of what you did. This is not
Yes.
because the company nagpa-power trip sa company para pahirapan ka. So, may konting change dun sa gano'ng mindset na
Mhm.
binibigyan ka ng ganyang, you're given disciplinary actions because the company likes to know. You're being given disciplinary actions because it's a consequence of what you did.
Mhm.
So, I
Yes.
think 'pag gano'n yung discussion, mas madaling ma-accept nung employee. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So, ito sir, medyo related naman with the recent happenings sa atin or globally. So, what changes have you seen in the field of HR during your career? So, you started, let's say, 2014. Tapos, we encountered, of course, the pandemic, di ba? And then the rise of technology. So, can you share your experience with the changes that you've observed in that period?
My God. I think all HR interviewees that you will handle, hopefully they will say the same thing. In the area particularly of recruitment, the landscape has changed.
Yes.
Sourcing talents right now has been very, very difficult.
Mhm.
Pag nalaman ng applicant na hybrid ka or full face-to-face ang pasok mo, back out.
Mm.
Back out na.
Mhm.
Okay? So, I don't know. Yung generation ngayon has been used to the work from home setup.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's one. Number two, this is not a present pattern that I was able to observe. This is a pattern that's been happening siguro way before pandemic pa. Pero it intensified during and after pandemic. Whenever you recruit talents and schedule interviews, they will confirm. And then during the day of the interview,
'Di back out. No
wala.
show.
No show. No
Mhm.
show, tapos no comments, you cannot contact them anymore, et cetera, 'di
Mhm.
ba? So, and really also aside from that, you really have to contend with a lot of companies, lalo na in the field of IT, accounting, there's really brain drain, no?
Mhm.
As far as I know, maraming mga accountants ngayon or people in finance that are going abroad.
Mhm. Agree.
So, iyon. So that's the difficulty in HR. And also, 'di ba, ang daming issue, no? Sa recruitment pa lang 'yan, ah.
Yes.
Of course, the technology, you're using technology now. Whereas before, you conduct interviews face to face. Zoom interviews are okay.
Mhm.
Online exams are it's a thing before pero it's more used now.
Mhm.
'Di ba? But at the same time, ang napansin ko na lalo na rito sa Philippine setting, when you do online exams, when it comes to
Mhm.
cognitive tests,
Mhm.
maraming applicants ang bumabagsak.
Really? Kapag
Yeah,
online?
kapag online,
Hmm.
particularly in math, the basic operations of plus, addition, minus, subtraction,
Really?
division. Yeah.
Hmm. Surprising
Alam
yun,
mo
ah.
'yun? Well, it might be unique to me, no? It might be unique to us. When we interview applicants, ang ganda ng qualifications, ang ganda ng interview impressions, but of course, part ng process may konti kang cognitive, eh, 'di ba?
Yes,
Pero 'pag nilaan mo na sa cognitive, bumabagsak.
hmm.
Yeah.
Ano ba yun, sir, isolated ba yan or like parang on a pool
No,
meron talaga?
meron talaga. I even sometimes do implement to cognitive exam twice, different
Mhm.
set ng exams para lang just to make sure.
Mhm. Talaga. Medyo ano yun,
Yeah.
ano sa akin yung surprising sa akin yun. Okay, sige. Anyway sir, just to ano kasi medyo limited lang yung time sa Zoom. Baka lang we can resume with the same link siguro just to continue yung conversation. Okay. Sir, on my next question is, as an HR leader, how do you set your goals?
Well, how do I set my goals? Well, basically, it's really based on you look at the corporate goals. Okay,
Mhm.
you look at the corporate strategy, which is I think also a plus factor for me because since I'm exposed in marketing, I still handle marketing. When it comes to strategic planning, I'm one of the main actors in setting up the strategic planning sessions of the corporation.
Mhm.
So right now, the month of October until November, that's our corporate planning session or season.
So
Okay,
ngayon
so
yun? Ngayon ba yan?
yes, yes,
Okay,
we are
okay.
in the thick of doing our corporate planning. So I set up the framework. I help in drafting the strategies of the
Mhm.
sales and marketing team. So I don't have any difficulty in drafting the strategies for the HR team. Always the HR is there to support the goals of the company. So if you want to set up the goals for HR, it has to be responsive to the goals of the corporation.
Mhm.
And for you to understand that, you have to know ano ba yung goal natin as in terms of sales, in terms of marketing, in terms of other departments like finance, business development, etc. Once you understand the goals of each of the departments, and then you ask yourself, what can HR do for these departments to reach their goals? If you know the answer to that question, then that will be your objective or your goal.
Mhm.
Because ang HR, it's in a unique position that you're not a standalone department. Parang pakialamero ka eh. Dapat you're present in all the departments. 'Di ba? Kasi you provide you provide the framework, you provide the assistance because all departments all of them have human resources. So you really have to understand how the department works. And then if you understand how the department works, then you can devise your strategies in your HR team. So
Mhm.
that's how I view setting up HR goals.
Yeah, okay. So talagang very vital yung your communication with different departments to understand ano ba yung kailangan nila. Tama ba?
Mm, yes,
Mm,
very.
okay. Sige. Okay, sir. So moving on naman tayo on another aspect of HR. Let's talk about engagement and motivation.
Mhm.
So, given that we're still in the pandemic, di ba? Hindi mo naman pwede i-declare, pandemic is officially over, di ba? Parang,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
when that happened, ano yung mga changes that you've seen in corporations or siguro within your company, on how you craft your programs when it comes to motivation and engagement for employees, considering what happened in the recent years.
Yeah. Again, you'll just go back to the principle that at the end of the day, you're an employee. And if you want to be motivated, or if you want to motivate or engage others, think of yourself, no? What do I need to do to be engaged and then to be motivated? More or
Mhm.
less, tatama naman yung gagawin mo once you understand that. Eh. So what we did, you just have to be very flexible. For example, during the pandemic, a couple of days before the lockdown, naramdaman na namin 'yan na baka mag-lockdown. So, chineck na namin, what
Mhm.
do we need to do para continuous yung business. So, during the lockdown, hindi kami nahirapan in adjusting.
Nice.
Kasi when the pandemic was declared, lockdown na, all of our people na-issuehan na ng laptops, meron ng
Mhm.
Facebook group. So, lahat ng
Mhm.
mga questions dun na, pasok kayo dun. Yun na yung parang chismis area mo, 'di ba? If you want to announce something, dun mo ilagay. 'Di ba? Pero what's nice kasi also sa Facebook group, it's composed not only of different departments, pati sales, pati management nandun.
Mhm.
And siguro also because the values of the company para siyang familial eh. It's a family. If you
Yes,
want to
that's
talk
important.
to an office, yeah, it's important. If you want to talk to a boss or an officer, you don't have to go through a secretary.
Mhm,
So I think having that kind of environment just translated into the digital space.
mhm,
So there was really no not much adjustment when the pandemic hit. Thus, yung motivation and engagement did not at all suffer that much. But of
nice.
course, syempre, postponed muna yung summer outing, postponed muna yung
Yeah.
sports fest, 'di ba? Pero natuwa sila eh, in-encash naman ng company eh. So,
Wow! Very
so
generous si Phelps Dodge, ah.
oo, swerte nga eh, swerte. So, in-encash naman. So, na-motivate pa rin sila kahit na hindi sila
Nice.
nagkikita-kita.
Oo, kasi 'di ba
Mm,
not everyone was able to do that. Hindi lahat ng companies had the resources or like 'di ba the time to do that to when
yeah,
pandemic hit, 'di ba? So very ano 'yun for kung ako employee ni Self Dutch, that's very ano, very thoughtful
yeah.
of my company, 'di ba?
Yeah,
Galing.
and also we're very fortunate because during the pandemic until now, we did not lay off any people.
Talaga? Nice.
Yeah, very fortunate talaga.
Wow, naku, yung next question ko actually is related to attrition. So yun yung
Mm,
next question ko sana sa inyo, sir. Kasi most of the companies that we are talking with, yun yung naging parang one of the issues that they had is attrition,
mm,
'di ba? Laying
mm,
off of people na talagang minsan hindi talaga may iwasan because of economic
mm,
reasons, 'di ba? So,
mm.
I'm still going to ask, is it an issue with self-Dodge?
Oo naman. Um, yung dinidescribe ko kanina during the pandemic eh, 'di ba? During yung kasagsagan ng pandemic 2020, 2021, 'di ba? It's a
Aha.
different scenario when you entered 2023. My God, the inflation, 'di ba? It increased 8%, 8.3%, ganyan. Eh, we only do salary adjustment once a year. Can you
Hmm.
believe it? Our attrition rate this year alone, lalo na sa sales, particularly in sales,
Mhm, mhm.
we had almost 10 resignations
So far, or
so
ilang
far.
from
10
what period yan?
resignations siya.
From what
From
period? Today?
January to August. Yes,
Hmm,
that's a lot. That's about 20% turnover rate.
wow. So, what's the main like trigger or reason kung bakit for
Salary.
the hmm,
Pero what's on the bright side? On the bright side, most of the resignations they happened because our salespeople were offered higher positions.
hmm,
'Di ba?
understand.
Kung ikaw si HR, medyo ang nakakatawa do'n, medyo maging proud ka din, 'no? Kasi napaka-marketable ng human resource mo. Why? Because they were really trained. They were really given a lot of trainings.
Mhm.
And then other companies noticed them enough para to poach them. 'Di ko alam kung
Poaching tala
matutuwa ako, maiiyak ako do'n. Pero, I mean, number one, nakakaiyak because they're leaving, 'di ba? You've
Mhm.
invested a lot, 'di ba?
Yes.
But number two also, it in a way, it also serves as a recognition that your people are really valuable assets, 'di
Yes.
ba? Kasi all of them, majority of them resigned because they were offered higher positions.
Hmm. So, parang ano 'to, parang promotion kumbaga on
Parang gano'n.
sa kabilang
Sa
lang.
kabila nga lang. And hindi
Mm.
naman sa competitor. So parang you can always view them as ambassadors.
Yes.
Kasi of course, 'di ba, if the companies they went into become our customers, di kami mahihirapan because they're there.
Yes, 'di ba?
That's
Galing,
how you
galing.
you look at things.
Mhm. Pero ang galing 'no,
Mm.
at least hindi siya sa competitor.
Yeah, 'pag sa
Kasi
competitor lagot sila sa'kin.
oo, kasi 'di ba usually yun naman sa sales talaga, eh, 'di ba? When you have this experience with this company on this industry, so chances are yung lilipatan mo is on the same industry, 'di ba?
Yeah, yeah,
Ganun yung parang practice, but good thing, yung employees ninyo who resigned, um, work for siguro or on a different
yeah.
company, different industry. Okay. Sige. Ano pa ba? Okay. For my next question, sir, siguro related pa rin 'to sa technology. How do you see or do you see technology playing a part in your on your rewards and benefits na gusto mo, let's say, kasi planning na kayo for 'di ba, for HR initiatives for employees of course. So how do you see technology play the role? Kasi hindi na kasi you have to parang adjust with times, 'di ba? Kasi yung traditional way of rewarding and motivating employees before might not be as effective today, 'di ba?
Yeah.
So how do you see technology being an integral part or a crucial part when you're rolling out programs na geared towards employee engagement and retention?
Mm, well, number one, kasi when you talk about employee engagement and retention, 'di ba? There are a lot of activities that you can do now using technology that you're not doing before. For
Mm.
example, you can do contests now via digital platforms.
Oo.
'Di ba? Before dapat face to face ka tapos 'di ba? Gano'n. Right now, for example, as simple as 'pag nagpapa-raffle ka, technology na yung gamit mo sa pagra-raffle. Before
Oo.
hindi, 'di ba?
Mm.
What
Madami
else?
ng apps eh, 'di ba? Madami ng apps na
Madami
pwedeng
na.
i-, 'di ba?
Yeah, in conducting Zoom meetings, 'di ba? You really use a lot of apps now. Ang daming
Mm.
available. Actually, ChatGPT is changing the HR landscape in a way eh. Kasi
Mm.
whereas before hirap na hirap ako to document the processes. No. You can always use ChatGPT now and then you
AI
can
na, no?
automate everything. AI na talaga.
Mhm.
Imagine if you before you I want to make an interview guide per position. It takes a lot of time kasi you have to think about yung competencies, you have to think about the job specification, etc. Now you just have to put it in ChatGPT and then ChatGPT will do it for you,
Mhm.
'di ba?
Galing, no?
So so HR talaga is being changed by AI in a way, no? And we're gonna see a lot of uh, applications of AI in HR in the near future. In employee motivation, in employee engagement, AI will be at the forefront in analyzing employee data and then
Mm.
recommending you what kind of engagement activities you can implement in your company. Hindi na ako magugulat kapag magkaroon ng gano'n. I
Mm.
think we're there na. Uh, we're there na. But of course, sa AI sa Philippines, nagsisimula pa lang eh. Parang, lalo na sa mga local companies, no? We're just starting to discover how to use it eh, in HR. Eh. Pero it's not long before we really integrate AI in not only in employee engagement and communication motivation, but in all aspect of HR processes. It's there na.
Yes. Yes. Can't deny na talagang sooner or later, AI will be like an integral part na ng, hindi lang
Yes.
siguro for everyone yan eh, no? Hindi lang for companies, it's for
Mm-mm.
everyone eh. So siguro yun na
Mm-mm.
talaga yung direction. Okay. So Sir AJ, we still have 3 minutes. Siguro, but I'm down to my last question. For our young viewers and listeners out there who wants to dive in or to venture or to really have a career in HR. So what's your advice on them?
I'll give you one practical tip muna no or advice.
Mm.
Practical number one. More than the HR, please strengthen your computer skills. Ito yung napapansin ko eh sa mga applicants and sa mga HR applicants, hirap na hirap sila on Excel,
Mhm.
hirap na hirap sila on data analytics. Alam mo, at the end of the day, HR is not only about processes, but it's also about analyzing people data.
Yes.
'Di ba? You want to get insights, you have to be able to analyze people data. You want to analyze people data or people data, you have to know how to use the softwares in analysis. Excel,
Mhm.
Power BI, expose yourself in that.
Yes,
Okay?
agree.
Then, 'di ba? Then after that, the HR framework, the HR theories will follow. 'Di ba?
Mhm.
So that's the second advice. The third advice, again, babalik ako sa principle. You want to be a successful HR, you have to have empathy. Okay? Always
Yes.
think about how do I want to be treated by my HR that should be your guiding principle eh. At the end of
Mm.
the day, dun lang, 'di ba? And lastly, last advice, kasi always the challenge in HR is ano ba yung role niya sa corporation, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Um, you have to understand the business. If you can't understand the business of your employer, you cannot be an effective HR practitioner. So that's
Mm.
it. That's the four advice. Be knowledgeable in data analytics, know your HR theories, uh, understand the principle of empathy, and then number four, know the business of your company.
Okay, couldn't agree more.
Pwede na ako mag-conduct ng seminar doon Anyway, sige.
Yung you mentioned ano kanina for the skills. I think that's it's really important kasi 'di ba numbers don't lie.
Yeah,
Decisions now are more effective if it's data driven, 'di ba?
correct.
So when you need data, of course you need numbers. So dun talaga papasok yung
Yes.
what you mentioned yung skills when it comes to Excel. Excel is one, pero I think
Yeah.
there are other
Yeah.
skills that will really enhance your analytical skills when it comes to numbers. Empathy, I can't agree more. Na talagang you have to put yourself in their shoes first, di ba?
Yes,
So
yes.
very good, ano sir, very good tips and advice to our listeners. Okay, I think thank you so much, Sir AJ.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for saying yes to my invitation to this podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. So
Sure.
if there are listeners who want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Well, they can always email me at my corporate email at albert.reyes at phelpsdodge.com.ph. Also, my LinkedIn profile is just there. Just sure, sure.
Okay. So,
Yan.
Sir AJ, so what's the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you who wants to network and to connect to get to know you more? What's the
They
best
can
way?
they can they can always look for me in LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is Albert Joseph Reyes, and then they can just message me there. That's the easiest rather than I just tell you my email address. Mahirap pa yung spelling ng company. So just look at LinkedIn. I'm there.
Siguro sir, I can since we can edit naman yung podcast. I think we can display it somewhere in the screen.
Sure.
Um para mas madali nilang they can reach out to you easily.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this has been your HR Champions podcast. See you on the next episode.
Bye.